the Irish Show. Away the Irish Show. Away the Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Irish! Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish! Irish! Yeah, that's right. That's right. Check out the bling. Mark with glasses. I'm wearing it nonstop now. This is happening. Every time we go in the studio, the bling's coming on. Thanks again, Mark with glasses, for bestowing this upon me at the tailgate. Well, here we are, folks. Here we are. And I feel all out of sorts. My routine's messed up. We didn't have the post-game show with the tailgate and everything. I'm getting old. I'm still recovering. I got to say, this is the week we've all been waiting for. And since I missed the post-game show, we're going to wrap this into one. We could take this wherever you guys want to go today. You want to make it about Ohio State? Go for it. You want to talk about Central and how that relates or isn't going to relate to Ohio State? We could do that too. I want to do both. I just feel bad I wasn't available to take those calls. So we can hit it all. If you want to make it all about this week, go for it. If you want to go back and review that, obviously that's fine too, because we didn't get a chance to do that this week. So that's the deal. 312-988-15. Hit it up. Whatever. I'm going to leave it open to you guys since I missed an episode. You steer it wherever you want to go with your time, okay? That tailgate was so much fun, you guys. It was just so much fun. We have such a nice group. Let's get into this, and I'll wrap that up quick. I know people don't want to hear about that the whole time, but I have some thank yous and some things I need to do to feel right about it. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny out as well. Notifications on. You know why. That way you alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar. Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inku. The voice is still struggling. A lot of about 15 hours of yelling in a row Saturday. My voice isn't fully back. Emails always irishmd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it the call-in lines. You already know what it is. 312-900-8815. What kind of cake showed up? I got a picture of that coming up. The cake said something like, congratulations for breaking out. And it had like a hacksaw and jail bars. And the theme was me going into jail for yelling at that Ohio State fan on Twitter. So it was me breaking out of Twitter jail with a little hacksaw. That was the cake angle, and it was brilliant. Right up my alley. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Ink, USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. Read all about it. We got stuff every day, all day, covering Ohio State week. Go there, go there, go there. Okay? First things first, let's get a couple super chats up. The phone lines are starting to fill in here. $20 holler. Where is it? $20 holler from Eric. ND beats OSU for one reason. Artman, the guy's a TD machine. ND outscores OSU to win 35-31. Ooh, I like it, Eric. Thanks for the $20 holler. $10 holler V1 rotate V2. Great win. Not every game is going to look easy at Tennessee State. 17 points by the defense is good enough effort, especially from a team whose only goal is to humiliate you in front of the country. And again, when it comes to Central, I have a feeling, and you got to understand, I haven't really been on Twitter. I've been editing stuff and writing articles. I am behind in my routine from being at the game. I am out of it. I have not seen all the game thread of Twitter. I imagine you're going to have a little bit of everything from people who go, we won 41-17 or whatever. Things are great. We're trending up into Ohio State. I'm sure there's a lot of that. And I'm also sure there's a lot of, I saw a lot of stuff I didn't like there. Better not bleed into next week. Most notably, the quarterback's leg getting bent backwards when he shouldn't even have to been in a game. The number one thing you couldn't have is some stupid thing happening to Hartman, and there I am having a bird's eye view of the guy's leg getting twisted. I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that. Unbelievable. Stressing me out. $5 hour from Mike. I see you on the phone lines and you're going to come up. I know it wasn't perfect, but it could be worse. Tommy Reese could still be the OC. Rough start for the Notre Dame guys down in Alabama. Rough start. I don't remember the last time Alabama had whatever is going on right now going on. Man, Tom, $10 hour. I'm just glad you're healthy and you're recuperating, Tom. Defense shows up with real tenacity. And offensive wrinkles will stretch the field to finally beat the Buckeyes. I will be there too. Well, then, Tom, it's a damn good thing you had to do your MRI and all that last week and not this week, baby. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, let's go back to the chat. All right, so first thing is the tailgate went absolutely fantastic. Like, absolutely fantastic. I don't think it could go any better. It was like a Twitter, YouTube screen name reunion. Everybody meeting people by their names, their screen names. My lovely mother came up with the name tags. And it's just, and it was just a riot because everybody started to meet everybody. And then you kind of know them, even though you just met them in the parking lot. Like, it was just a cool dynamic. Everybody who came, everybody who brought stuff, brought gifts, brought stuff for the whole group tab. All of my people that helped with this setup, all of my family, the whole family, parents, wife, brother, everybody, Pat's family, Craig's family, Adam's family. Adam's the key to figuring out that parking area and figuring out how to get the best spot. Like, we have such a loyal group of people that are willing to do anything for the cause and help. And we got to meet everybody. I mean, Dr. John was there. Mikey Poles, the security guard, was there, and he got engaged on campus. So that happened. Like, Mark with glasses, who comes up with all this hilarious stuff, was there. Like, I'm telling you, man. No, not the Adams family. Adams family. Totally different. Oh, man. So, yeah, John, your mom is awesome. I got great parents, great family, man. I'm lucky to have them, and they all want to be a part of it. It was just a beautiful thing. And so I think we made this. It's got to be a yearly thing now. You did it for blue and gold, and then you did it and it went well, and then we did it for real game, and it got bigger. We got to do it again. So we're going to do the same thing probably. A September game. Not the biggest one on the schedule. I am not in the mood for Ohio State week to be bullshit in the parking lot. Ha ha, let's have a laugh. That ain't it. This week was different. This was a game. This week's a war. Last week, I'm going to repeat that. Last week was a game. This week is a war. And they're very different things. So I wouldn't even be in the mood to do that before Ohio State. There's just too much anxiety for old Johnny boy to want to do that. All right. I wouldn't be able to handle it. All right. So here's the thing. I'm thinking about this game that we just played. I'm going to go to the callers in 2 minutes. I think it's pick your narrative. Totally pick your narrative. If you want to look at that final score, Notre Dame didn't try and even do much, blah, 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 whatever, and it was all good. You could look at things to make that work. And if you were saying, if we wanted that straight trajectory up to Ohio State, like straight up, this would have been 55-3, 56-10, not close by halftime. Like all of that. I think for us to feel like it was straight up full speed ahead, like everything peaking, I think that's what it would add to be, and that's not what you got. And so it's kind of good and bad. You're like, I want to criticize some things I didn't love Saturday. And I also want to admit they're compliments in a way, because I'm nitpicking and have complaints when we won by a big margin. And I think that's good. So even when I'm complaining, I'm finding things that it's like, it's not, I'm complaining within something good, I guess, is a way I could say it. And that I want to just keep that in perspective. Not long ago, we were complaining about losing these games or winning them by 6, and it's literally down to the wire. It wasn't that. And that's progress. But I also understand people who wanted to be trending straight up and feeling good and blow them out and a shutout and you're scoring 55 and the quarterback's out by the second quarter. I get all that too. So I don't know where it all falls, but the answers are coming this damn week. All of these 4 weeks, is Notre Dame good or the other teams were playing that bad? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You're going to find the real answer for the first time this week. And I'm excited about that. But now you're going to find out where you stand against this real top-end talent. And we're going to get some answers on a bigger scale. On a bigger scale. $20 holler. Thank you, Josh Miller. Great time at the tailgate. Now it's time to break some nuts. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm telling you, the tailgate was just a riot. And with Pat being so immersed in the show now, it's just so funny because people were coming, oh, I want to see John, and then they're going, where's Pat and where's Dr. John? Man, it was just a riot. And Dr. John pulling up with the doctor, the white, you knew it a mile away. Here he comes, and everybody sees a guy walking through the parking lot in a doctor's white gown with the stethoscope and everything, and everybody knew it's Dr. John. It's just perfect. It was just beautiful. So we had a great time, and Pat and Adam and Craig and everybody putting into work to make it work, and all your families, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We had a big group of Canadians show up. It came from, I think, Toronto. Man, we hit it all. Mikey Poles with the engagement, winner of the week at the tailgate. Mikey Poles, man, what a beautiful start to that relationship. You know, I'm sure that's what she wants to think about is, yeah, remember that weekend we got married and we were hanging out with John? Yeah, that'll set the romantic tone for sure. Oh, man, unbelievable. All right, let's get into a couple phone calls and then I'll get back into my notes. There's a lot of chats today, and I'm going to try and go back and stay up with them. So as I'm talking, I'm going to try and run through them, and we'll see what you guys think. 361, thanks for the donation. What's going on, man? Happy Ohio State week. We're finally here.
Yes, we are. I wish I lived a little bit closer. 3 hours north of Mexico is not ideal to make it to a tailgate party in South Bend. But
yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I would love to make it to one of those.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. But you know what? A lot of people were there in spirit, man. A lot of people were, wanted to send their well wishes, and people donated, Ed, for the cause if they couldn't make it. It was a beautiful event, man. It's one big family. We all love Notre Dame. We had a great time, man. Great day.
Yeah, and I hope you get to watch some of the replay, via Peacock, just to see some of the stuff I know you probably miss when you're being there at the game.
Yeah.
I watched it after the fact. As you know, I'm very involved with the kids. So we had 2 football games, 2 baseball games, finally got to watch the game. And my takeaways were the same as yours. Hardman got hit way too much.
Dude, it was the number one thing. The number one thing, like aside from not losing, it was the number one bullet point that you just had to make sure. And there I see my guy in the second half with his leg bending sideways. I just didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. And me and you have talked over the years. We have a very similar point of view. So not to totally echo you, I'll go a little bit glass half full. Hardman can throw a deep ball. Estime is, I couldn't help but remember the Titans every time I saw him running the ball in that second half. Agile, versatile, mobile, hostile.
He just started running them guys over. He just started mowing them down. Like, all right, we've had enough of this. Just give it to me, and I'm just gonna mow these people down. But dude, all right, but here's my question with this. Are you taking what worried you or didn't go totally to plan in this game and then letting it affect your feelings for Ohio State? Or are you zooming out to a bigger picture of Notre Dame's won all their games? The final scores weren't particularly close. We have a real world quarterback. The team's going to be dialed in and ready to play and get up for Ohio State. Let's just focus on that. Like, where are you at on that dynamic?
I think I'm more on the side of, like, I see it with my kids. They know when they're better than another team. And I think that had a lot to do with what we saw, why it took so long for us to pull away. But I just think we've seen too many good things. And the few times I've been able to call in, the one thing I'm still sticking to is Notre Dame is ahead of where they've been in years past.
Yep.
So
now wait. That is correct. And I think that's important that we understand that perspective. And it's like, it's going to be hard to, if we lose this game this week. I understand that. But what you're saying is a bigger picture bullet point that's very, very important, that we saw Notre Dame taking those steps this year. And we're seeing that. So that's an overarching good thing trending up. How does it play out this week? That's a more immediate thing that I don't have the answer to.
Yeah, because if we, didn't cover the spread against Navy or Tennessee State, and it was way too close about North Carolina State, and then this week happened, we feel way different. This almost feels more of a, for lack of a better term, a one-off in terms of not coming out of the gate and having that lead early to where we get Hartman out of the game. But I also have to look at Ohio State last week or this past week, and they look pretty impressive, but it's Western Kentucky, whatever. I'm so sold on Hartman's ability to, Merriweather, Tyree, Thomas, and Flores all had 40+ yard receptions? I mean, when was the last time we had 4 different receivers with that kind of yardage on a single catch?
And you know what else, man? People want to, I know there's like things not to like in this ball game, but they did accomplish some of the things on my little subset of goals within the game, meaning I wanted Merriweather to build some confidence and get a chance. Well, how about a 75-yard bomb TD? That's exactly what the doctor ordered. A deep ball over the top to Tyree, putting that out on film. I like seeing that too. Like, it wasn't all bad. It's just, I think everybody, the media and the fans, kind of had an idea this game would be over by half, and it didn't happen. And then that kind of agitated everybody, myself included. That's all.
Yeah. And, some of it was offensively. But let me ask you this. Okay. It was probably very much a big surprise to you that Burt wasn't the quarterback and Ernie showed up. But
I'm telling you, dude, it took me a minute to realize that. I did my breakdown and they were talking about Burt, and I was on here saying you can never trust a 20-year-old guy named Burt, and I made a big deal about it, and then Burt wasn't even out there. Was he hurt, or did they switch quarterbacks? I never heard that story.
According to the broadcast, he was sick and didn't even make the trip.
Wow.
But here's my thing. How can you be that thrown off? Because as much as not a great quarterback he is, apparently the kid's an amazing athlete. And then we get a lesser quarterback, and did that confuse us?
Yeah.
That's what really got me. It's like, hold on. I understand you probably prepared for Burt Emanuel all week. Then you get the backup who's a lesser quarterback, and we look a little confused in the first quarter and a half. I was like, what's going on? Like, you expected Burt, got Ernie, and we don't know what to do. I don't know.
Yeah. But man, a part of me, some of this is running into this week, but a part of me is almost like none of it matters really anymore. We made it undefeated. That's all that matters. And now nobody's going to even give a thought of what happened against Central once this game happens. Like, there's no way. People are like, oh, Notre Dame was kind of like out of it and not in it early. That ain't going to be a concern this week. Like, these guys are going to be up and locked in for Ohio State. That is not a concern I have. Is it going to be enough to beat them is the concern I have. And that's a different concern than, are they going to be up more than they were for Central at home in a sleepy September afternoon?
Well, here's the one thing you can take away from Central Michigan. You can take away from North Carolina State and every game we've played. The one thing we have not done in recent memory is have explosive plays, specifically in the passing game.
Yep.
And I'm bringing that up because in a game like Ohio State, you're not going to methodical is probably not going to be the formula to success. It just is what it is. Against these big teams, unless you're like the 2012 Alabama Crimson Tide, you're not going to beat teams methodically. You're going to need to have explosive plays in your repertoire. We finally have that. And what I found funny is,
man, you know what though? I'm glad you're bringing that up. I'm glad you're bringing that up because that's an aspect of the way Notre Dame used to operate on offense they didn't get enough attention, is the fact that when the only way you could score a touchdown is like a 13-play drive that takes 8 minutes and you're getting little chunks down the field, all it takes is one dumb play to back you up or one holding call or something. Like one thing that puts you off schedule can ruin all that when you're just doing these little bits down the field. You got to be able to move the ball a little quicker if you're going to be a top echelon team. I'm right there with you. And this offense could do it in a way the others couldn't. And that is a reason Notre Dame fans feel like they have more of a chance in this ball game than we've had in recent years in these matchups.
Absolutely. For the first time going into a big game, I'm finally feeling like, okay, we're not going to come into this game playing not to lose or playing to keep it as close as possible. So we're playing to win the game because we finally have what we need to play.
You play to win the game, right?
Yeah. But how many times did we watch Kelly and Reese literally game plan to not lose?
Yep.
It was annoying.
No, you're right. It was obvious, Mike. It was obvious. There were a lot of those games where I felt like Kelly knew it was a mismatch and he coached it and designed it out to lose by not a lot, not to try and win. I am convinced Kelly did that. He entered some of those games where you were going to have to take chances for Notre Dame to have to even have a chance to be in it, and he refused to do it. Got conservative and wanted to just lose by not a lot, not give Notre Dame a chance to win. This is all different. And that's one of my big messages of the week is all of your big game Notre Dame bullshit that's in your brain, that scar tissue, it doesn't apply like it used to because this Notre Dame team is more capable of having an offense than those were. That changes the whole calculation here.
Yeah. Like what I was going to say is about the explosive plays. I saw it on Twitter. I heard national podcasts talk about Notre Dame beat North Carolina State and has won several games because of explosive plays. They only won because of explosive plays. My rebuttal to that is, when was the last time we won because of explosive plays? Finally. Like finally.
Yeah. Do I got you?
Go ahead.
So here's what I'm thinking about this week, man. I just feel like obviously everybody needs to acknowledge, and Notre Dame fans are realistic to acknowledge the talent that's on that Ohio State roster. They're recruiting an elite recruiting operation year in, year out. I don't see that slowing down. We can all acknowledge that. While I acknowledge that, this is the most vulnerable they're going to be entering one of these against Notre Dame, in my opinion, with the quarterback that isn't like an NFL dude already and all that and everything. Like, if you were going to get him, this is your best chance. You got him at home. They're still trying to get that quarterback going. I know they feel good about what they did this week, probably better than we do. But if ever there was little vulnerabilities where you had a year to get them, this is it, in my opinion. Do you agree with that or not?
Oh, absolutely. Because, and I talked to my dad last night, and the reality is we have Hartman for this year. We don't know what next year is. We're back to potentially question marks.
Yep.
If you don't take full advantage
and
take every shot, every opportunity, that it may not come back around for another year, 2 years. Whoever might, if it's Carr or whatever, you realize what you've got. You've seen it. You've seen the top end. Like, I'm looking at it like this. Literally, Saturday, like I mentioned, Merriweather, Flores, Thomas, Tyree. You can't focus on one singular aspect of our offense. Estimate as long as our guys can win one-on-one, there's going to be opportunities to make plays. And I don't know when we're going to have that opportunity again, because it's not just those guys winning a one-on-one. It's the fact that we finally have a quarterback who can take advantage of the fact that our receivers can win one-on-one.
Yeah. And the other thing is we still want to see those guys in one-on-one matchups against better talent. That's another part of this equation is there are going to be those opportunities. Are those wide receivers going to be able to get open and have the daylight they need to make that all those plays work? Like that's all stuff we're waiting and seeing. I'm just saying you could pick your narrative entering this game, how good you feel overall or letting some things worry you. But I just think there's no doubt this is the most well-equipped Notre Dame's been in recent vintage to truly compete in one of these games of this magnitude where normally we all feel like, well, we're starting from way behind. With the quarterback and with the offense, we're way behind. How many block punts can we have? How many pick sixes? Because our offense we can't rely on. It's different this time. And that should be a reason Notre Dame fans are really excited because the Notre Dame team is built different entering this moment. And that is one of the best parts of this to me. This Notre Dame team is built different. I'm not going to see the same crap I'm used to.
Not at all. And, like you said, we do need to see the receivers against better competition. But the fact that they've all shown flashes tells me Ohio State can't focus on bracketing a Michael Mayer type player.
Yep.
We're too spread out. But the other question mark we had entering the season was the secondary. And I got to say, I know we haven't played the elite of the elite, but I'm pretty impressed with what the secondary has been putting together week in, week out.
Yep. And that's another thing that Notre Dame usually never brings into a big game. That is usually a negative against us in the big game. That is usually an area that gets exposed by us in the big game. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying Notre Dame's going to kill Ohio State. I'm not that out of my skis here. I'm just saying the way Notre Dame's built should allow them to compete and look very differently in this moment than what we're used to seeing. And that is how I'm entering the game, with a unique positivity because we're practically built different. Anything else, my friend? Really appreciate the call starting us off on Ohio State Monday.
Well, I had to call in today because Wednesday's probably not going to happen. And Friday, we have our team conference call at 9 a.m. when you kick off, and it wouldn't happen. So I had to get in today.
All righty. Hey, listen. Hey, we're gonna go Friday night too. So I know you might be with the family, but we're gonna go live Friday night, late into the night, taking those late night anxiety calls. So Friday night's an option too, bud.
Awesome. Well, the last thing I'll say is, like you just said, anybody who's saying, "Oh, Notre Dame's gonna kick Ohio State's ass," or "Ohio State's gonna kick Notre Dame's ass," it's not gonna be close. You're just being a fan. Be logical. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun to watch. Notre Dame does have their best shot in I don't know how many years. If you talk to Ohio State fans since 1936, but whatever.
Yep.
It's our best shot. I can't wait to watch it. Thank you for taking the call, John.
No problem, man. Have a good week, and this is going to be really exciting. We're going to see what happens. Thanks for starting us off, Mike. Oh, man. I'm telling you. This is going to be quite something. And the other thing is I did see some people talking about game day. Game day is going to be at Notre Dame. And don't worry, I got some plans. I don't know if they're going to work, but I have some plans. If ever there was a moment for me to benefit off of all BSPN's BS that they pump us and treat Notre Dame most of the time till they could leverage them for better ratings. If ever there were a week for Johnny Boy to flip the script and use BSPN to my advantage, don't think that I do not have plans to try and do that this week. And so we're just going to have to see how that goes. But I got plans, okay? I got plans. You better believe that. Oh, 937. We got a couple 937s coming up. What's going on, 937? Good morning. It's Ohio State week.
That's right. It's Ohio State week. Thank God Tommy Reese is gone.
Now, wait a second. Now, wait a second now. I can see on the screen where you're calling from, and it does say Ohio. How are things out that direction?
Oh, they're good. I mean, I got nothing to complain about. Why? Should there be something going on over here?
I'm just saying, you're a Notre Dame guy in Ohio, and that's a big week for that overlapping nature. I'm just wondering if it's kicked in yet, since it's actually game week. That's all I'm asking. If the neighbors are throwing eggs at your house yet or anything,
It's funny. It's funny, look, I've grown up Like I've grown up in the worst 30 years you can grow up being a Notre Dame fan and living in Ohio.
You must be close
and
to my age.
I gotta say this. I'm sure there's probably some Ohio State people tuned in, and I just gotta say, like, the amount of talk that Ohio State fans have done for the last 25 years and have won 2 national championships.
Hey,
all right,
they can't even get by Michigan anymore. And you got to knock the cheer. You got to quit talking as much when you're coming off 2 years of getting your ass beat by Michigan. You got to tone it down a little bit. You got to have some awareness to know you ain't that right now.
Yeah.
That's my problem. They've accomplished way more in Notre Dame, and everybody acknowledges that. But when you're getting steamrolled by Michigan, maybe you need to tone it down and quit acting like you're the Super Bowl champs. I'm just saying, they need to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I know. They have, in my opinion, they should probably have 2 or 3 national championships, but like the one that they won in 2014, they got lucky, man. They had a third string quarterback play the best 4 games of his life. And in 2001, 2002, you happen to have the greatest freshman running back that like the world has ever seen. He stole the ball back. I don't know if you remember that. He literally, it was like a pick or a fumble, and he just runs up to the Miami U guy and just steals it. It's like it. And then they had pass interference, that sealed it up. But still, it's just they could have 0, very easily could have 0 national championships, but they have 2. But I'm not here to talk about Ohio State in that regard.
Yeah,
I want to say coaching matters. All right.
Okay.
Because we all see what's going on with Alabama, right?
Yes.
But also look what's been going on with Ohio State. I mean, can anybody really say that Michigan is more talented than Ohio State?
You know what? You know what it feels like? It really did feel to me the last 2 years that Michigan literally prepared all year and shaped everything to win that one game. And they have been uniquely matching up with them in the ways they need to do to get the advantage. Like literally Michigan, it was like tailor-made the last 2 years to play the one way that could beat Ohio State. Like, I got to give Harbaugh credit for that. Like, I think that he figured that part out. And a lot of teams.
I've brought this up before. Man, Lou Holtz said he recruited to beat the toughest team on his schedule. And that kind of segues in a little bit too to, I wonder, now I'm just curious, I wonder what your thoughts are on this. Is our team designed to get less sacks this year? In a sense, because we are playing so cautionary on the QB run, because we know that the best team on our schedule this season is USC.
I think that is situational based on how big of a running threat Notre Dame staff believes the opposing quarterback to be. Like NC State, there was a lot of them. They were saying their job was to just kind of get back there and build brackets. So that guy was kind of stuck there rather than going for him. And then you have an over pursuit problem and he can bail or whatever. Some of that is like them kind of dictating, we want you to just block that guy in. That's what I've been hearing. I'm not an X's and O's guy.
Right?
Yeah.
But like humans are humans. We're like it's a habit of nature. Like you build up these habits and stuff, and it's hard. We've all played strategy games. Like even if we're not athletic, we've all played strategy games. But then a lot of us have played sports and stuff. And when you play a style of ball, it's hard to go out there and flip it and say, well, you know what, this game I just want you to go pin your ears back and go get them.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to do that when it's like a coaching style has been developed. Like, hey, we want to make sure we don't get burned by QB scrambles.
Yeah.
And so I am curious into any of the lack of sacks.
Yeah, but listen, it is a main question going into this ball game is Notre Dame's pass rush. Are they going to be able to get after this quarterback before he has time to sit back there and throw it to all those athletes on the back end? Like we all acknowledge, nobody's saying, oh, they're not as good. No, I know the weapons they have in the back end. One of the keys to Notre Dame winning is getting to that kid before he gets the ball to those guys. Get him, pressure him, hit him.
I don't know. They couldn't do much in their first 2 games. They really struggled. And I don't know if anybody watched that Western Kentucky game, but I have never seen such a horrible defense in my life. I mean, you just got to go watch it.
Yeah.
The defenders are just like they're playing a zone a lot in that game. And they're guarding a spot and not a player, and that's like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And so those guys are just wide open. I mean, it is what it is. Like I don't put anything to their actually scoring points. I think I do want to say with the Central Michigan game, I'm curious on your take on this. Is I thought we went out there and we flipped the script for the first time this season on offense. And we said, we're going to lead with our pass and our backup plan is going to be running for the first half.
Well, now I kind of
that's what it felt like to me.
You know what? I would kind of understand that. And I almost asked for it when I was doing the lead up. I said, what are my priorities within the game? Obviously win it by a lot and not get Artman or 1 and 2. But one of the things I said is if you want to focus on the passing game today to build the confidence of those other guys going into Ohio State, I am all for that because I figured even if it doesn't go perfect, you have all the leeway and margin for error against these guys that you can work on that stuff and still win it, So I understand all that. I almost want to say, screw it, we're undefeated, wipe the slate clean, and the world is either going to be great or end this week. I don't know.
Win or lose. And like the thing is, win or lose against Ohio State, if we win or if we lose, nobody's going to talk about Navy, Tennessee State, or Central Michigan.
Yeah.
People still might talk about NC State later on in the year, depending on what the record is. But I was just saying, like those 3 games, nobody's going to talk about them. There is no style points. Like it's you just win or you lose, in those games. And so we won. But like I look at the Central Michigan game as probably the coaches look at that and say like, hey, this is our last chance to practice anything we would want to practice before we have to take everything extremely serious.
That was exactly it. And we just wanted it to work enough that Artman was out by halftime and we were up by 4 scores and it just didn't work out. I don't want to over freak out about it. I just hope it's a new ball game this week, man. It just is. These guys are going to come ready. They know what's on the line. It's a totally different vibe. I saw some complaints about how the crowd was. I don't know what you expect against Central Michigan. I just don't. We were loud when there were good things. I don't know. But for an afternoon game against Central, I'm not sure what you expect. With Ohio State coming the next week especially. So let me ask you this. After the Central game, do you feel better, worse, or about the same about the Ohio State game as you did before the Central game? Or did it not move the needle for you at all, or do you feel better or worse?
I feel the exact same.
Okay.
And because I think the state of the program. I mean, I could be wrong. We could lose. And then I'm set back into reality here. But like last year going into that game, I was hoping for like an upset, right? But this year we have a known entity. We've scored 40 points in all of our games, even away on the road against the NC State team who historically has a good defense and protects their home field from like getting points put on us.
It's a different way of living.
We seem to be a second half team, which I love. The Brian Kelly and Tommy Rees era, it's like you score on your first drive and then you might score 2 more touchdowns the rest of the game. This is the opposite.
Yeah.
This is as the game goes on, we get better and better and better, you know, and that's
the
why
idea.
I have a problem with people saying, oh, they just snuck out a win against NC State. Oh, they just snuck out a win against Central Michigan. Like, no, we actually just get better as a team as the game goes on.
But wait, none of those final scores were close enough. Anybody could say Notre Dame snuck by. None of those scores ended up being. I'm not saying they didn't
NC
feel.
State, apparently NC State
I'm not
people
saying
were like,
they
had a
didn't.
shot.
Oh, well, they're their people. I thought you meant from our people. But if you're talking like
No,
ultimately,
not from our side, just like generic or like their side type. Like,
I didn't even realize there were that many NC State fans until after the game, and they were like, they're no better than us. We just needed a couple different plays. I'm like, okay, buddy, whatever. But now that we beat them, they can go ahead and play good all year. Now that we beat them, go ahead and have at it, man. Keep winning.
We're already hashed out. Like, they could have had 7 turnovers that game, and they only had 3. So, like, it was way better than what it could have been for them.
Yeah.
But like here, I think Ohio State is Brian Kelly 2.0. What's their situation? They got a coach who has a problem winning the big game, and they just hired their famous, wide receiver who became a wide receiver position coach, who's now their offensive coordinator. And now their offense is struggling because they just don't happen to have some premier elite freakish quarterback. And their wide receiver room is not what it used to be. They used to have Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Njigba. They don't have that. I don't care if Marvin Harrison is better than all 3 of those guys, which he's not, but I don't care if he's the best one. They don't have 3 NFL guys. They do not have a offensive rookie of the year in the NFL on their wide receiver crew right now. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, I just don't think Ohio State has it. And that's why I think my needle, I think Ohio State is going to finish 3rd in the Big Ten.
Man. Yeah, well, hey, they can have a rough year all they want as long as we're a part of it. I want to jumpstart it. I don't care what. I would be the perfect. But wait, but man,
which is a little disappointing to me,
right? Because
I'm looking at our schedule.
Yeah, the perfect path is we beat Ohio State, then they turn it on and they beat Michigan, and then we look better. That's the perfect path. But I don't know if that would happen.
But that doesn't. But that doesn't matter. But none of that. To me, none of that matters in the grand scheme of getting into playoffs.
How does it not? Wait. How does it not matter if they end up winning the Big Ten and we have a win over the Big Ten winner? That definitely matters. What do you mean? How does that not matter?
We play enough quality teams. We play enough quality teams to where if our one loss is to USC, we're getting in.
There you go. Well, I'm fine. I just want to find an easy way to boot somebody out. So maybe you're booting out the Pac-12 winner then with USC. So yeah. I mean, Notre Dame's because we could dictate our own destiny. I get it, but I would like a win over the Big Ten winner. That's what I'd really like in my cap.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Well, I mean, we're not going to be playing the Big Ten winner. That's probably Michigan.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to come down to Michigan or Penn State. That's probably I just don't. I know everybody says Ohio State's really talented, but the most talented team in the nation is probably Alabama. But look,
where's that kid?
When you don't have the coaches, when you don't have the coaching staff, I'm not saying Nick Saban's bad all of a sudden, but it takes a team of a staff to look. We had Tommy Rees last year. And we already have almost as many 40-point games. We just need to play another game, and we'll have as many 40-point games as we did all last year.
Yep, it's different. It's just different. And you can't be well, I don't know. I mean, I guess Reese gets some credit for getting Hartman, but that's the problem I've always had is everybody saying, well, he doesn't have good quarterbacks to work with. And then I'd say, but that's partially his fault. That's not an excuse that he got to use because he failed to recruit and develop and scout appropriately. You don't get to lean on that as a crutch later. That's your freaking problem too. To not ever think Drew Pine should be a scholarship quarterback at Notre Dame. That's on you for ever having that thought that was good enough.
Right.
Anyway,
we change OC. We change offensive.
This is going to be a long week, man. This is just going to be a long week if we're at this level already. Oh man, this is great. Oh,
Well,
oh man.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win this game.
There you
all
go.
right?
I appreciate it. Anything else, my friend? I get going here. I need to get some other callers. A final parting shot for you, my friend.
We're gonna beat Ohio State 42-28.
Oh, baby. Man, now you're speaking my language. I really appreciate the call on a Monday morning. We'll be live the rest of the week, Friday night, whatever. Give me a call back as the week develops and your thoughts morph. Okay, my friend? Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it, man. Oh, people are worked up today. Who was it? Somebody said, who was it? Did I highlight this? Somebody said, did any of you geniuses ever think that maybe the Notre Dame staff is holding some stuff back for Ohio State and maybe that's, a part of all this? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to complain. It's, that's not realistic. Something doesn't go right against Central. I'm not going, well, it's okay because they're probably holding something back for next week. That ain't how the real world is. Everybody wants everything to look good all the time. All right. Oh, man. All right. We got the call banks are filling up now. They weren't before, but they are now. And so I'm going to have to move quicker. Again, I'm going to explain this so nobody thinks I'm shortchanging their opinion. How much time you get depends on how many other calls are waiting. When there is not a lot of people waiting, I can give people more time. The more calls that are in waiting, I got to speed it up to get through them. It's nothing personal. It has to do with the timing of those calls and how many people are waiting, okay? So we got a bunch of people we're going to move through. 859, you're on the line. 937 next. What's going on, 859?
Hi. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well, my friend. It's going to be a long week and an exciting week with a lot of questions. And this is the week we've been waiting for, man. Where's your mind at as we enter Ohio State week?
I'm concerned as hell. I think your nightmare that you said in the summer that I think we have an offense that can win us a national title. However, I think our defense, I'm a little worried. I don't like how he's rotating the linebackers. He didn't play Bowen when he could have more. Is this kid going to transfer? I think Al Gore is going to be a handicap. I really do. Excuse me.
Yeah. Now let me ask this: is it primarily off of the recent performance, or has that been like growing and something you've been monitoring the first few weeks, and then Central crystallized it, or are you reacting to what you saw just this Saturday, or like where's that all coming from? Big picture.
I think it crystallized Saturday because even if they didn't put up a ton of yards, they kind of gashed us like USC did to us last year with the running game. Man, and that's what worried me. Central Michigan.
They put up 136 or something rushing yards, but when I was sitting there, it felt a lot worse than that, or 100 and something. It felt like they ran it for more than that on us, to be honest. And I don't know. But I don't know, man. Do you just throw this out and go, it's a clean slate and we're going to go full tilt to Ohio State and I'm not going to stress out all week about what happened against Central? Or is it the responsible thing to do to analyze what didn't look right and extrapolate it? I don't know what the reality is yet.
I wouldn't put so much into Central. I just think I just haven't seen it. Maybe I'm putting a little bit of last year in with a little bit of this year. I just don't think we have a dominant defense that can shut down the run. And if you don't shut down the run in big games, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have the quarterback in place to win.
Yeah.
I think we have the skill position players in place. I think we have a great secondary, which is rare because we haven't had one of those since Lou Holtz. The problem is that front seven. Now, maybe getting that defensive lineman back, but then I'm hearing people complain we're keeping guys in lanes and not letting them play freely. That concerns me. So is that our defensive coordinator trying to do what Reese did, where he has to be the smartest coach in the room instead of using the talent and using their skills to help us win a game? That's what concerns me. Is he trying to use this as a film tape to get back to the NFL? If that's the case, see ya.
Yeah. Now let me ask you that. I mean, I know a guy like me and you, we're going to worry no matter what. But you got to feel better about the offense Notre Dame's bringing into these big matchups this year. It's just right off the bat with Hartman, as long as he's in one piece, the offense is capable of keeping Notre Dame in games in a way that they were not physically capable of doing in recent vintage. That's got to help you feel a little better. Like it all doesn't have to be the defense getting a shutout for us to be in it. Does that help balance it out on the offensive side that we're more capable?
Yes. That's the one reason I think we have a chance to win. But I think your other thing, to summarize or quote you or paraphrase you, is where you're going to go nuts is our offense finally gets us to championship level, and then our defense takes 2 steps back. Yeah, and that's where I'm really worried we're at.
Man, you're right.
I hope to God I'm wrong.
You're right. All summer, I was hammering that bullet point of saying that would be my biggest fear for the overall year is the offense takes big steps forward, and then in the big games, the defense goes backwards. And then you average out, but just for different reasons. I don't know, man. Maybe that defense will pick it up, and they'll unleash those guys, and they'll get to this kid before his time.
Or we got to win a shootout.
Yeah, man. See, I want to avoid that. I'm not used to seeing Notre Dame in a big game shootout where you can actually keep up. That's the problem. I've seen a lot of shootouts, but they're one-way shootouts.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Well,
only one team was shooting in the past. There was a shootout, but only one guy had the weapon. We were never shooting back. You know who our head coach was.
You know who our head coach was.
Ooh, Swamp Thing.
You made a good point about that. I even thought about that, where he would coach just to make us look close.
Oh, that's what he did. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt he did that multiple times. The ACC championship against Clemson and then the playoff game against Alabama. He coached not to lose by a lot, not to win either one of those games. The game plan told you that. They didn't even try and do anything Notre Dame had to do to try and score enough to win. They didn't even attempt it. Kelly played to minimize that marginal loss, not to win, and I'll never forgive him for it. So I don't know, man. I'm encouraged in a different way because this Notre Dame team is built different than all of the ones through the Kelly era and last year in these moments. And that excites me. It's just going to be a different viewing experience no matter how it goes because Notre Dame's built different.
As long as we win, I don't really care. So I hope our biggest nightmare is just where we're seated in the Final Four.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not ready.
And people got to get through their mind.
Oh, man. I'm not even ready to think about that yet.
You got to get straight in your mind. Ohio State's, the USC's, you need them to win every game they play except us.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down, in case we do get a loss, who knows if we are or not? I don't know. You need that resume. You need all those teams. Because as I told you in the previous call, you got to build. There's 5 power conferences, and you got to start getting rid of conferences. And then it gets down to, how does your resume stack up against the other teams?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of can't have 2 teams out of the Big Ten. The only thing it looks like, but they're going to build in. I think Alabama will be gone. So if you look at LSU, could they make a run just because of how easy their schedule is? So, and the ACC, is it Clemson or is it Florida State?
Yeah. And see, man, I'm like, before I even get to worrying about all that, I wanted to get through Ohio State week and then kind of reevaluate where I'm at and then start looking at the other things that are going on. So I'm really looking at that. So it's going to be an interesting week. It's going to be a long week with a lot of questions, and we're going to start to get answers. Anything else on your mind as we start the week? I'm interested to talk to you guys as the week moves along. I want to hear how people's thoughts change throughout the week and maybe where you're at. Anything else that's key to you right now on a Monday?
Well, appreciate your time. But one quick thing. Do you have any update on the injuries, where we're at?
You know what?
You hear anything more?
I haven't. I looked last night. Somebody messaged me something, and I didn't get any messages telling me anything or nothing. I don't have anything anybody else doesn't have. I don't know. Somebody else update me. Let me know if you know.
We'll have to wait for his press conference at noon.
Yep. And so I don't have any insight on that either. So we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting week. And I think it could be the best home environment since Bush Push, maybe. Even in 2012, those environments, I was at all those home games. Even when we were undefeated in 2012, it wasn't like Bush Push level of stadium vibe. This could rival that. And it's been a long time, and Notre Dame needs to play well in that environment. Damn it. Oh,
yeah, I agree. But nothing.
I really appreciate the call, my friend. I do, man. I know this is going to be a long, stressful week with not a lot of sleep for a lot of us.
That's true. You got it. All right. Thanks again, John. Have a great day.
Have a good one, man. And Tim, I want you to make it to a tailgate next year. You gotta have a drink with me. Calm down a little bit. And that's me saying it. So that's something. That's something. Oh, by the way, I want 937, and then I got a 513-618-317-224. You guys are going to all come up. I want to let you guys know this is an atypical week with my content. I'm going to be joining a lot of other shows. People are going to be joining my shows on the Ledger. I'm going to join the Ohio podcast tonight. Those guys are going to come back and hit me back sometime this week so we could get both perspectives and each have a show running. So we're going to do that with the Ohio podcast. I'm going with Mark Rogers, the voice of college football. When I'm done with this show, I'm going to go over there and join him to talk about this game. Also, there may or may not be something in the works with me and the guys at Blue and Gold and Mike Singer over there. That might be in store for later this week. And so it's one of those weeks where this is it, baby. We're hitting the circuit. So Johnny's a free agent, and I like making the rounds and hearing what everybody else thinks. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of extra juice this week, you guys. A lot of extra juice. 937, the week is here, my friend.
Yes, it is. John, this is your favorite Buckeye fan. How are you?
I don't think I have a favorite Buckeye fan. Not this week. That's every other week. I'll let you have that. You don't get that shit this week. You don't get those niceties this week, buddy. Back it up, Captain Bucknuts. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Not really.
Let me give you a little update. I was at the game on Saturday.
Yeah, and you guys scored a lot. Now you feel like you're going to put 100 on Notre Dame. I mean, where are we at here? Give me the realities of it.
Okay. So I wasn't, the offense looked good. They looked a little bit better than I thought they were going to look, honestly. And I think that's where people are excited on the offensive side of the ball. But
yeah,
I think the biggest takeaway that Notre Dame fans need to take from this game is that I know your previous 937. I think he's joking. He's not taking. He said it's just Western Kentucky. Well, let me say this: Western Kentucky beat the crap out of South Florida, who played really close with Alabama. So. Western Kentucky had the number one returning quarterback quarterback wide receiver combination in all college football, and they can throw the ball. They're a good team as far as throwing the football. I think most analysts around here thought if we could hold them, 20, 22 points, something like that, that's a win. So to hold them to 10 points, people are very excited, quietly excited about our defense.
Yeah. And I think, man, and that's the problem is trying to sort through Notre Dame's opponents thus far and Ohio State's thus far. And then look at who's doing what against them and what you can extrapolate. Like, I think Indiana's probably you have Indiana on your side and NC State as far as a physical, the closest physical matches you're going to get. And it's just sorting through all of that and then figuring out on both ends what is going to apply directly into this game. That's the challenge. And that's the battle all the fans are playing in their minds of what can we take good and bad out of what we've seen that's gonna manifest in this game? And you have all that in this stew, and we just don't know how it's gonna come out at the end.
Right. Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me was the fact that in this game we didn't give up any big plays in the pass game, and that's what Western Kentucky does.
Yeah.
So, and they've done it against lots of really good opponents. With this quarterback, this Reed, he's going to be an NFL draft pick, and then they have a receiver that's going to be an NFL draft pick. So our defensive backs are very solid, and I think I know you had a previous caller said, we're going to live by the big play, and I think it's going to be the opposite. I think what Ohio State is going to do in this game is they're going to force Notre Dame to not have any big plays, and they're going to force them to drive the field. And that's how I would do it. I think Ohio State has the athletes on the back end to do it. And I think the weakness on our defense, in my opinion, I think our defensive ends are very good at run the run game. But I will say I was expecting a little bit more as far as sacks, and I think a lot of fans are saying that. But there were quite a few pressures, so that's what the media says after the game.
Yeah.
But I would expect more sacks. So I think as far as rushing the passer, our defense ends there are no Bosa's. So I think that's pretty self-evident.
Yeah.
So
what is
that's where our concern is.
What is the confidence level? Like, I don't consume a lot of Ohio State media on purpose, until it's relevant. What is the vibe? Like, I mean, I have seen a couple wild things. I don't know who that one dude is, but I saw a clip of some guy saying Ohio State's going to blow out Notre Dame. It isn't even going to be close. What was that guy's name? Noon. Justin
I saw that.
Noon?
I'm pretty sure that was from the prior.
Noon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was from last year.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I was somebody that clipped something from last year.
Okay, because I saw a clip where they're like, it's going to be bad. They're going to blow them out. I didn't know what that was. But I want to know for the fans, are they like acknowledging Notre Dame as a quarterback and there's more to worry about here than normally when you play Notre Dame? Or are they going, it's little old Notre Dame. We're getting on that damn toll road, that highway, and we're just going to beat them. Like, where's the fan pulse at for Ohio State? I really want to know. And I don't mean what they run, and I don't mean just what they tweet running their mouths. I mean what they really think. Not talking shit on Twitter, but what they really think.
Yeah, so the fans think this. Notre Dame this is like one of Notre Dame's, in the last 10 years, this is probably one of their most legit teams in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think most Ohio State fans acknowledge that. And I think Ohio State fans going into last week were very, I would say I would say 45% said we were going to win and 55%. I think we were overall negative on the game for next week. Going after this game and kind of understanding the progression of the Ohio State team, I think the numbers have flipped to like 70% with a silent confidence and a 30% negative in the fan base. And I don't think anybody is thinking that we're just going to run away with this game. I think too, frankly, the way the clock rules are, for one team to score 48 points in this game when I think the running game is going to be involved, I don't even think that's possible. So like the other 937 caller said, I think it's going to be, I think maybe one team might get into the 30s. I don't think either team's going to get into the 40s, especially the way the clock rules are now. And honestly, the way Ohio State defense is played, if you were to tell me and you pointed a gun at my head and you said one team's going to get into the 40s, I would say it's not going to be Notre Dame after seeing what I've seen on defense. That's my thought. But I think it's going to be a close darn game. I really do. But I do think Ohio State's going to force Notre Dame to drive down the field and not have huge plays against them. I think that's going to be the game plan.
Yeah. And the other thing is, the other issue Notre Dame's had in almost all these big stage matchups is O-line you, and then they never run the ball well when they face up with the top 2 to 3 teams they play in a given year. They don't run it well. Georgia, O-line you, and you ran it for like 50 yards. Okay, so that's the other part of it too is Notre Dame going to be able to run the ball at all? Is Audric Estime going to have some room to maybe be able to do that and force Ohio State to have to loosen up around the line of scrimmage? Those are all things we have to wait and see. That Notre Dame offensive line, how are they going to hold up against Ohio State's talent? These are things you didn't necessarily get answers to the first handful of games. So there's just a lot of things that are in between right now, and we're going to get answers. It's just like the moment of answers and ultimate answers, and everybody just wants to see it on both sides, what the realities of this are now that we're down this path. It's just going to be, it's going to be fun, and the environment's going to be electric.
It is. It's going to be electric there. I know it. Those fans are just going to be going crazy. I think the other thing, I think everybody knows it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be. I think if you think it's going to be a blowout one way or another, I just don't even see how that's possible in this game. I do think it's good for Ohio State that we are no longer like this huge favorite and that we're only like a 3-point favorite. I mean, I think that's a big positive for us. If we would have played those first two games and destroyed the teams we were playing, let's say, and then we had just what happened last week, then I'm personally I am in a much more favorable position for our team. I think after kind of seeing what's happened now versus that, not really being tested or not really having it's kind of weird too because Michigan last week they didn't look very good. Their quarterback threw 3 picks. And yet they don't drop in the rankings. And Ohio State dropped after that first game. And you look and, damn, Indiana almost beat Louisville. So it's just, it's kind of interesting just seeing all this lay out. And then with Alabama playing, they're still ranked 13th. I mean, I would have to drop them even more after seeing what's happened with them. And then Boston College almost beating Florida State.
Yeah, you know what, man? There's a lot of it's kind of a unique year in that way. There's a lot of some brand names that already have losses, and maybe it'll open it up for some different teams come later in the year. And it's going to be interesting, man. Here's give me your final thoughts on a Monday, not for the week, and then call me back as things develop. That's what I want you to do as the week moves on.
I will. I don't want to give you a score yet, but I do think the game is going to be close. And I think if one team can establish the run, and I think these teams, I don't think Estime is any better than Ohio State's running backs, and vice versa. I think they're almost mirror images as far as the running game. Whichever team can establish the run, maybe can pull a 10-point victory, but it's not going to be any more than that.
Yep.
That's how I see it.
It's going to be interesting, man. Stay in touch. And if there's any news on the Ohio State side or anything, get back with me as the week goes along. Okay, man?
I will. I want to give you a final score prediction here coming up soon. One of these days.
Beautiful, man. You know the number. Dial it up. Have a good Monday. Oh, man. I usually am. It's just hard. He calls in my favorite Ohio State fan. I don't think I have one this week. If it's middle of June and we're talking about it, but I don't think I'm allowed to have one this week. 513, you're talking to me. What's going on? Maybe if I hit the button. What's going on, 513?
Not much, Johnny. How we doing?
I am excited for this week, and I just hope the game is as awesome as the build-up's going to be, because it's going to be a wild week on social media and doing all these type of shows. And I just want the game to match that excitement level and Notre Dame to play well. What do you think on a Monday?
Yeah, well, first off, I heard a sneak peek when I was listening to Blue and Gold. They're going to have someone on a podcast that they like, and I was like, oh man, I hope that's you. And then you kind of gave that hint earlier. So I'm really excited and looking forward to hearing that collab if it happens.
Yeah, that we're trying to schedule it out. That should be fun. They're good guys over there, and we have a personal relationship. So it should be fun, and I'm excited about it. That'll be midweek, I think, if we do it. So we'll get there. Thank you for the kind words, though.
Yeah, hey, man, you deserve it. So I am also from Ohio. You've had like a bunch of Ohio college today. And I've lived here my whole life, okay? So I have heard my whole life, Notre Shame, Notre Lane, you guys are not a real school, all that. So it's really odd that this is the first year where, like, I'm kind of hearing some respect out of Ohio State. I don't know how to react to it. And I don't want to get cocky because, you don't want to act like them, right?
Yeah.
Even if we blow them out, that's not going to happen. But, like, let's say it does. I'm not going to turn around and say you guys suck. Like you don't treat your enemy how they treat you.
But the thing is, man, but here's the thing, man. It is justifiable to me to look at this Notre Dame team differently. I don't think it's fair to go Notre Dame's big game failures and all that. And then I don't think all of that applies to how it used to, because Notre Dame's built differently with the quarterback. That is different than all of those recent big-time games where we were working from a deficit at the most important position to start going into these games. Notre Dame's built different. I'm not saying they're going to win and kick the crap out of Ohio State, but they're built different to start with, and I like it.
No, I totally hear you. That, the one area that kind of has me concerned, honestly, and I know we're talking good about the corners, are those corners though. Like, I don't know, just the whole like defense gave me a little bit of concern based off Central Michigan, because that was a game where, like, if you're somebody like, I mean, I know Benjamin Morrison's had like not a bad year, don't get me wrong, but you want more shine, him, Cam Hart, like you're wanting more out of these guys coming into it. So like, this is the game where like you come in, this is your time to show that like I can be the guy, right? And I was hoping to get a little bit more out of them to build that confidence beforehand. I don't know. I feel like they just needed that little confidence boost. It's hard to get that confidence boost in this big of a game where you're playing these big of athletes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree or not, but like that the offense, I don't have concerns really. I know it was a bad week last week in perspective. I just wished a little bit more out of that defense. So
yeah,
I'm going to go though overall. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I need to see Notre Dame in this environment. I don't know what we're going to get. I need to see that defense hold up against the run. I need to see them play physical on the back end. Like, I am not sold I'm going to get that, and I'm not sold that I'm not going to get that. I am waiting and seeing, and all of America is on the edge of their seat to see how that's going to go.
I'm actually in the opposite boat. Like, I feel like the run game is not the problem. Like, Love has been even if Estimate has a bad game, Love has been amazing this year. Every time you hand that guy the ball, he won't go down. Like, he needs to get hit at least like 3 times before he's going to hit that ground. So it's not even the run. If it becomes the offense side, and I don't even know if it's Hartman or if it's more the pass. Like, it was nice last game when we saw Tobias actually get a big catch. To be fair, any guy who's open by 10 yards should catch that ball, but we've already seen that this year where people have dropped some open passes.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, that's the point of that exercise is, even though you're saying anybody out there with that amount of space against lesser athletes should catch that ball, I agree, but confidence is real. You're the guy catching it. You're going to build confidence. Sure. So I wanted to see that, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I haven't heard, by the way, people saying that the Central Michigan crowd was weak. I mean, so you're saying it wasn't. I haven't even heard that.
The Central crowd? I mean, I don't know. I mean, there was some ugly ugly maroon and urine yellow in there, but not a lot. Like, no, I didn't. They weren't.
No. I bet like our fans at the game. Sorry. Like, they were saying like we were quiet.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was, here's the thing, man, the vibes. When you get later in the first half and it's a close game against Central, I don't know exactly what excitement you expected there to magically be in the stadium. Like, I don't know. Everybody was grumbling, going, I wish we were ahead by more than this. This isn't what we had in mind. Like, that was the vibe, because everybody had in their minds the game would be over by halftime, and it wasn't. So therefore, everybody was disappointed. And then you're like, okay, this is kind of not what I was hoping today would be, but at least we're going to win it. That was the vibe. And I understand why, because those were the circumstances.
But it was a weird vibe too. So one of my really good friends is an Ohio State fan. And, he was kind of asking, like, what do you think of how the game's gone beforehand? And I told him, like, it's weird. Like, I feel like we're really beating Central Michigan, but the score doesn't tell you that. Like, we were only up 7, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but it was like we clearly have the better athletes. We're clearly going to pull out in this game, unless if something horrible happens at halftime.
Yeah,
like a Brian Kelly halftime speech. But like, it just felt like we're fine, and that as a fan gives me confidence. But I guess it's more important because I'm not the one going out there playing Saturday at 7:30. So I think this team has it. They have something special. I'm not saying they're going to win, titles or playoff games. I look at it as a one game at a time. If you look at it like we're going to go win championships, that's how you flip up.
Yeah.
And I like the Freeman approach this year. He's changed that. Last year was all about championship team. We're going to win a championship. Yep. Now it's 1 week at a time. You could see there's a difference with how the team approaches it, and it's a good thing. It's a nice change.
Yeah, and it was a needed one. And I do like that Marcus is adaptable enough and didn't act like he has all the answers and was willing to pivot and change the messaging. That shows some humility there, and a guy that's open to learning, and he knows he doesn't know everything yet, and he's not, the full playing with the full deck yet as far as being head coach. And I do like that part. So I don't know, man. What do you think would be maybe the biggest keys for Notre Dame here this week? If you could give me like 2 of them, what do you think were the most important factors that are going to determine how this goes?
Yeah. So one is not to sound like the Patriots guy, but do your job, because there have been some plays. So Navy was one where everyone has to do their job in the option, right? Like that is option. If you don't do your job, you miss. But there were in the last game, there were some things I saw where like it seems like someone wasn't doing their job, whether it be the offense letting Sam Hartman almost get like his leg bent in the most weird way.
Telling you, I almost flipped off the back of the stadium, and my body convulsed. I picked the top row of the upper deck on purpose to be able to stand and have room to move around and nobody behind me, and I have the aisle so I could stand and my body convulsed when his leg. I almost flipped off the stadium, and it was all over. I did. That's the one thing it couldn't be. It was the one thing you didn't want to see. It's that exact thing.
Oh man, our season flashed before our eyes right there. So yeah, it'd be to do your job, but then also the other one, make Ohio State one-dimensional. And that's easier said than done, right?
Yeah. That sounds really good to say today. Yeah, exactly. That sounds great to say. Yeah.
But if they can do that, and preferably it could be take away the pass, because Ohio State has had teams in the past where they're really good on the ground. But let's be honest, which team is more historically the ground-heavy team and wins in the trenches?
Yeah.
When it comes to that, it's usually Notre Dame, right? Because it becomes into a ground-heavy game, then it's going to be, who has that, Marcus Freeman's favorite word, who has that experience, right? Who knows how to win games like that? That would be Notre Dame. So if they can take away the pass, make it one-dimensional on Ohio State, everyone just does their job. Again, those are both easier said than done. We will come away with the win. I don't think it's going to be a massive, 20-point victory. If anyone's thinking we're going to come with a 20-point plus win, they've never seen Ohio State come play in the fourth quarter. That's when they play their best football, right? Even if we're up by 20 going into the fourth, we're not going to win by 20.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. What are your 2 big key takeaways, would you say, to go into it?
I feel like Notre Dame's got to sell out. I think you got to stop the run. I just think you have to stop the run, because if Notre Dame doesn't stop the run, everything opens up, and then that passing game is open. Like, you've got to be really, really good at something to be able to force them a little bit. And I just think I'm an old school guy. We're worried about their talent and the skill talent, all that. If you're already going to have trouble dealing with all them no matter what. If you're getting ran on a little bit too, even just a little bit, it makes it way harder. So I got to see that. And then Notre Dame offensively, I feel good about them. It's the best shot that they have to test a real defense that I've seen in 20 years. They have guys that can beat you. They don't have A1 receivers, multiple of them out there, but they have more guys overall that can stress a good defense than we've brought into this game, led by the quarterback. All those running backs can do stuff, the tight end, whatever. So I don't know. Stop the run, and then you got to get something going on offense. Sammy Hartman, this is your stage. This is why that guy came here. This is why. Weeks and moments in games like this. Get it done.
Yeah, and not to disagree with something you said earlier, but I don't know how much Tommy Rees brought in Hartman. I don't know. Maybe there's some things you read that said that, but when he came out and said that there was NIL money behind it, he knew that this was the biggest stage he can come to. I don't know how much Tommy had to sell him. If anybody, I believe Marcus probably sold him more than anything, because we know how that Brian Kelly, Tommy Rees selling is, which is, I hope you come here. Maybe I'll message you in a month. So, you know, like, you're right. This is what he came here for. I also think, I thought it was funny, the announcers mentioned a few, was it 2 weeks ago, I think, that Hartman grew up a Michigan fan. And maybe he also looked at the calendar and saw like, oh, and if I go to Notre Dame, I have a shot at Ohio State. I mean, no matter what team you go for, if you're a Michigan fan, like, that is the game you want to play against, right? Is against Ohio State. So, yeah, man, this is his moment. This is his game.
Yeah, this is it. This is like the buildup, and everybody knew it, and you couldn't talk about it because you didn't want to be disrespectful to the first month of the season. But you bring Sam Hartman here for this moment, for this game, for this spotlight, for this stage. Sam Hartman came here for this moment. So we're going to get a lot of answers to a lot of questions to get the real measuring stick of where this team is at in year 2 of Freeman this Saturday night. And I'm excited for it, man. I really appreciate the call on a Monday morning. Give me a call back later in the week, okay?
Well, do. Thanks, Johnny, and go Irish.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. Dude, look at this. Look at this. I got to say something back to this. Look, Day said he's going to UGA on ND. Not good for ND fans. You mean like when Ryan Day said he was going to hang 100 on Michigan and then lost 2 games in a row to them instead and got bullied and ran into the ground? Is that what we're doing? We're going to take Ryan Day by his word? Wasn't Ryan Day the one saying he was going to hang 100 on Michigan and he hadn't beat them since in 2 years? Wasn't that the same guy running his mouth? Oh, and I'm supposed to take that as gospel then. Oh, yeah, we're going to hang 100 on them. And Michigan has been road grading Ohio State for 2 years in a row in embarrassing fashion. So forgive me that I'm not listening to anything Ryan Day says about what they're going to do or not, because he doesn't have a good track record when it matters the most of running his mouth. Sorry. Here's a creative one. Notre Dame, Sam Hartman sucks. LOL. Dude, real creative there, man. Wow. Charisse, you remind me more like Clarice from Silence of the Lambs here. I don't know what you're doing, Clarice. Give me a break. You got to get more creative than that. Actually, it's almost like this comment is almost like calling somebody a dummy. Like, instead of coming up with like an 8 F-word lace tirade name to call somebody that's all complicated and modern, sometimes it's more offensive if you just call somebody a dummy. Like, it's so retro and simple, it's almost more offensive than a more modern insult that takes more brain waves to get it out. You just call somebody a dummy. Notre Dame, Sam Hartman sucks. Yeah. That's what I do this for, is for insight like that, earth-shattering shit. Oh, man. 317, what's going on? You're on the line. Good morning. 224 next, 618 after that, 614 after that. What's going on? Hello, 317. You're driving on the highway to work. I can hear it. What's going on?
Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I got you. What's up?
Oh, man, I'm so sorry, man. I was waiting, man. I apologize, man. John the GOAT.
No,
Glad to be on again, bro.
Oh, that's okay. I got you, man. I see that the last time you were on is May, and a lot has changed since then. Fill me in. Where are you at on this game as we enter Monday of this huge week for Notre Dame and Ohio State?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, I feel like we're going to smack them. That's what I've been saying in the comments. We're going to smack them. I feel like...
And what you gotta parse that out. You gotta tell the group what is giving you that confidence that that's gonna happen. What have you seen?
What have I seen? It's just that you come to our house at night, and we owe you one. When your quarterback ain't number 19 years old, he ain't foul it all. He didn't look that great against Indiana. I'm not gonna even judge the other game they just played. That don't count. Can't count that one. Though I tell you what concerns me though is our safety play. That scares me. 11 scared to contact, man. He be whipping a whole lot. He's better in coverage than he is hitting the stick. And then you got DJ Brown. He's nice when he makes the play, but he doesn't make the play too much. Yeah, he ain't scared of contact. He just misses a lot. So that's what scares me. But the grand scheme of things, I just think the environment is going to be too much for them to handle, man.
Man,
too much.
I hope
That's
so.
one.
It's of all the complaints people have about Notre Dame's home environment and the fans and all that, I don't think it's going to be a problem this week. Notre Dame's undefeated. They're doing the green out. It's a night game. It's Ohio State. That place is going to be electric. For once, I have no concerns about the Notre Dame environment. It's going to be exciting. People are going to be into it, and it will be a good home environment. That isn't going to be the problem for Notre Dame if they have issues Saturday. It's going to be a matter of doing the right things you need. And guys stepping up and making big plays. You need some guys to make big plays in this game. It's prime time, baby. You need to make some big plays.
I agree 1,000%, man. I just feel like it's gonna be that Clemson vibe, though. But the Giants gonna be that Clemson vibe when they came in there and the press colleague, took it to the house off the block punt. We ain't got no black punt either yet, so we do for one. We do for one.
Yeah,
we're trying to get that this weekend. We do for one.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have one yet. Now, here's the other thing that I think is unique about this. And listen, maybe the Ohio State people would disagree. I am not certain. But to me, it seems pretty obvious Notre Dame's entering this game with a quarterback advantage. Like, I'm not talking about overall talent. I'm not talking about how many stars the wide receivers have next to their name. Talking about the quarterback. I think even the Ohio State people, if they're from Earth, should have to admit that Artman comes in with more experience and a higher level body of work than what they have. That right there changes the calculus. That right there makes it different than any other time recently Notre Dame's been in one of these games. That's a big deal to me. That right there. Start with that. That's a big damn deal.
All right. So, Hartman. And I'm going to keep it real spill and good with you, John, because you keep it real spill all day long, so I got to keep it real spill with you.
Okay.
Man, I love Hartman, man. I love Hartman. He scares me sometimes, man. The NC State game, I played quarterback in high school. He was scared, man. And then he got it together. But that scared me, the fact that I could sense that he was scared. That's frightened me a little bit. He don't get back on his drops enough to see the whole field. He still got that mesh mentality where he don't take deep enough drops. And CBA can't hold down the floor like everybody else can. But as far as reading the defense and picking them apart, he's got the knowledge. He knows how to use his arm. He ain't got a cannon, but he knows how to, as Toby, as number 4, it takes off. He can get the ball out there. He ain't got no rocket, but this decision making and game time pressure, he done seen it all, man.
And it's it's calming when he's back there. It's calming. There's not a panic.
Yeah.
And like the game kind of slows down. We are so used to Notre Dame's offense operating in what looks like semi-organized panic. You know what I mean? And like, you're not sure the quarterback knows what they want to do, and you can feel it through your TV. And it's like, you don't have that. I trust what this guy is going to do. Like, I'm telling you, Notre Dame is entering this game looking way different. I'm not saying that means they're going to win it, but they are entering the game way more equipped to hang with the top level team than we have been. And that's where we're starting from this week, and it's a good spot to be.
Right. And I like to co-sign what you just said. When Hartman takes his 3-step, when Hartman takes a drop back, when he takes his 5-step drop, whatever it is, when he ain't got no pressure on him, it's about to be a big play.
Yep.
Like when anybody in the face, it's money. You just know it. Like, they done messed up his rush streak. Like I was watching the game when we played at the Wolfpack. They rushed yesterday. They done messed up. Made him pay every time they came with 3. He makes them pay. Like if you don't put pressure on him, it's a death sentence.
Yeah,
it's over for you.
Yep. You're right. And the same thing's going to apply for Notre Dame on the flip side. Like they have that quarterback that has some questions or whatever, but if you're not going to pressure him, he's going to find that talent eventually. This is on Notre Dame's defensive front to get after that guy and make him uncomfortable and make him throw Morrison the ball a couple times. That's the recipe.
Right. Well, we coming. I think, we ain't got no for real sex. There's a lot of things we're due for. We're going to smack him. We're going to smack him around Saturday because we ain't got a block punt. We ain't really got a bunch of sacks. We ain't really showed out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gave up some stupid plays Saturday. Like, we got a trip. And plus, we 0-1. That's for everybody leaving out. We 0-1. We played with them for 3 quarters with Buckner.
Yeah.
With Buckner. We're about to smack him with Sammy, man.
There you
Sammy
go.
About to smack him.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a big moment, man. This is why Hartman comes here. Like, this is why he is here is for these moments and to win these games. I just hope the guy isn't too sore because he took way more hits against Central Michigan than he ever should have to. I'm mad about that still. He got tagged a little bit against Central in a way I wasn't expecting him to. I didn't want that guy touched.
You're right. You know what I like about Sam, though?
His hair. The beard. His hair and beard.
Yeah, I mean, he got a great hair and great beard, but I like the fact that he seems like he's off. Like, he ain't all there sometimes. And now you need enough to be at the quarterback position. He ain't got it. All the screws ain't there. He'll be looking up for La La Land. He'll be dancing. He'll be talking to himself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But if you need a little crazy, you need that.
Yeah, he has a good time, man. I don't know. This is going to be something, man. And we're just going to have to see. And it's going to be interesting to see the vibes throughout the week. We're looking at this Monday morning. I want to see how things change with these fan bases and the opinions and the predictions and kind of how this goes. Anything else, my friend? I do appreciate you calling on a Monday morning of OSU week.
Oh, man, just give me your ups, man. Don's the GOAT. He's the best doing this. And when y'all call in, don't overtalk Don. Let Don tell you what's popping with the population. I got you, John.
I appreciate that, man. I like that very much. You're going to be my producer. Thanks a lot, man. It's good to hear from you again. Call later in the week if you feel like it, okay?
I got you, brother.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. I like that, man. Little bit, he's standing up for me. Let John tell the people what's going on. I like that. Oh, man. Kevin Noon is a buck nut away from 300 pounds. I did see that. Didn't help me believe the case he was making anymore. I did see that. But I didn't know if that was cut from last year or not. Because that would be disingenuous, though, if there's Notre Dame people cutting up an interview about Notre Dame, Ohio State, but it's a year ago. And it's so I don't know. I'm going to have to talk to Mark Rogers about that one because it was on his show. And I'm doing Mark's show later, so in a little bit. So I'll tell him, I'm going to have to ask him what the hell the deal is with that. 224, give me some more. What's going on, Andrew?
Hey, what's going on, John? How are you?
Big week, my friend. Very, very big week.
Yeah.
We had our fun. We drank our beer, had our little party in the tailgate area, and now it's serious. This is it, man. This is what we've all been waiting for. This game's been circled forever. This is what it's all about. How are you framing this to start the week?
Well, you know what? I think that we do not need to invent a new way to beat Ohio State. I think the blueprint has been put out in front of us in previous years. I think we have to assume that Ohio State is just as explosive as they've ever been. They put up 65 points. McCord seemed to be in control. So I think you throw out the preseason schedule, you got to use the blueprint to beat them, which is if you date back to 2019 against Oregon, you look at 2021 against Michigan, 2022 Michigan, and then even the Georgia game, the offense has to score 35 plus points to beat this team. I don't think we can win a 21-17 or 27-24 game. I think you got to assume Ohio State, even if we play good defense, are going to get some points, kind of similar to when we beat Clemson in 2020. Like, our defense still played kind of good in that game, and yet they still scored a bunch of points. And then I think that if we are really O-line you, we've got to show up, because that's how Michigan won their last two games. Yeah. Like, they just completely dominated the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And what your previous caller said, if you can give Sam Hartman a clean pocket, he has shown that he'll put the ball on the money. And then we just got to hope that Audric Esme runs wild on that team. So I think it's as simple as that. We got to follow the blueprint that Michigan and Oregon in 2019 gave, which is you just got to physically manhandle them. If we struggle to do that, I think that puts us in a tough spot. And I think that our defense needs to be opportunistic. You know, we've got to force some fumbles. Yeah. We've got to get a pick or something like that to kind of shift the momentum. And that's where I think the crowd comes into effect. It's like, we got to get loud on third downs. McCord, you know, this is his first big game that he's starting in. Let's see him make some miscommunication with his wide receivers and maybe throw a pick and get us a short field. And I think that sort of ends on that. It's like, for how awesome the Schrader, the kicker, is, we've got to score touchdowns every time we get the ball in their territory. So I think it's as simple as that. I mean, if we can score 35 plus points, I think we're going to win the game. If we can't, then I just can't see us holding Ohio State under 30. So
yeah, and it's that defense. Listen, I don't think that Notre Dame defense is the elite of the elite of the elite or whatever, and they're going to give up some stuff against a team with this level of skill and talent. We all understand that. But you got to make up for it by making a couple of those splash plays. Get a tip ball up in the air and you grab it. Knock a fumble out early and you get it. Get a good break. Like something like that early in this game would go a long way to changing the vibes and maybe the dynamic there. And I'm already thinking the same thing against USC. They're going to get some of theirs. You need to make some plays that you can't rely on week to week, but like big plays to kind of stop some of that. Now's the time, man. Guys need to step up, make the biggest plays in the biggest moments.
And it could be as simple as, do you remember, I think it was 2013 when we went to the BCS championship. Manti Te'o had like 7 or 8 interceptions that year, but I'm sure some of them were clean interceptions, but a lot of them were like insane tip balls that he just somehow tracked down and got a pick, and it was just like game changing. You need something like that in a big game like this. And so it's good that we got JD Bertrand back. I think we showed, like, a lot of people were kind of down on JD Bertrand in the offseason. I think, last week showed that JD Bertrand is the real deal. We need to rely on guys like him. Bertrand's got to make plays. But he can't have one of those games where, go ahead.
It's like, oh, Bertrand's slow, play the young guys. But then when Bertrand's out, then the next thing is everybody's like, when's Bertrand coming back? We're going to have him back for this game, right? It's just wild how that works.
Well, you know what's interesting? What I worry a little bit about Notre Dame's defense is it's not like Jack Heiser was trash or something. Do you see the stat line? He had like 10 tackles. What I'm worried about is the guy who plays middle linebacker, is he the only guy who makes tackles? So I think we just got to, like, as a team, we've got to play our best game. Like, we can't have any, no one can choke out there. We've got to give them our best game we can possibly give. And I would hope, like, a lot of people are down on Al Golden, but I think this is where experience matters. You know what I mean? The idea would be that this really isn't his defense. This is Marcus Freeman's defense. And so now he's in his second year coaching it. And you got to hope he's got something dialed up, for Ohio State. And I thought he did a great job in the NC State game. So, I thought he pretty much made all the right calls in that game. So you got to hope that we can do that. But I think at the end of the day, it's like anything we get out of our defense is great. But the offense, I mean, you got Sam Hartman for a reason. And I think that you just I encourage all your listeners, go back and look at the box scores of all the games that Ohio State lost in the last 3 or 4 years. It's the team that plays them beat them in a shootout. They put up 450 yards of offense or more and scored 35 plus points. And I think that's what you got to do. And I think if you think we're going to win a low scoring game, I just don't see that happening. That would be a new way to beat Ohio State that we haven't seen. So
yeah. And that's the biggest piece of intrigue of this matchup leading into it is clearly how much better Notre Dame fans feel about the offense and more specifically the quarterback entering this game. And that changes the whole dynamic about Notre Dame fans should be looking at consuming this game. The idea that we feel like we have a quarterback who in the right conditions isn't just so far behind what the other team has. We're starting from a huge deficit. That changes everything. And I don't know whether I'm overplaying that angle or not playing into it enough. But that's how I really feel. His presence alone changes some of that, the quarterback. It's a different ball game playing Notre Dame this year in these games.
Well, I just think, we're averaging over 40 points a game. I don't know. I think it's pretty clear that if Tyler Buchner was still our quarterback, that wouldn't be the case. But
you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty confident in that too.
I don't feel like I won't end on that though. I just think I feel bad for Tyler Buchner. I think sometimes, like you see this a lot. We're great recruits, kind of like a quarterback in the NFL draft who gets drafted by the wrong team. Like, I don't know, Brady Quinn getting drafted by the Cleveland Browns. Like, he made a strategic mistake by playing for Reese because Reese is not going to play an offense that would suit Tyler Buchner. I bet you Buchner would be a lot better. He played for Gus Malzahn. He played for Hugh Freeze, somebody like who knows what to do with a running quarterback. But that's neither here nor there. I'll end on, O-line you's got to show up. And I think that when you do a Saturday night, review of what happened, in the Notre Dame Ohio State game, that's what we're going to be talking about. Did the O-line show up, or do we really have first round talent on this offensive line or not? And I don't care how good and improved Ohio State defense is, we've got to smash them up front. And if we don't, we're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And we're going to get a lot of answers to some big questions we've been asking for a long, long time. So everybody's going to have their checklist ready and say, where did Notre Dame meet expectations? Where did they fall short and why? And we just need to see. But my number one takeaway on a Monday morning of this week is my excitement is primarily because I see Notre Dame entering this game just built differently than they are entering almost all of these other games since the time I started covering Notre Dame doing this stuff. So that excites me that at least Notre Dame's entering the game presenting a different way, because the old way didn't work. It was a fail factory. So I'm glad we're entering this one trying something different. By trying something different, I mean having a quarterback who can do some things. What a luxury.
And then I'll just end on this. For God's sakes, can we do a jet sweep or a screen pass to Chris Tyree? Like we did a jet sweep with Jaden Thomas on Saturday. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, but it's, he's the fastest guy on offense, but we're just treating him like he's just like a typical wide receiver. And then the last thing is Holden Stage showed us that he's legit against NC State. There better be some packages for him.
Well, now wait. Hey, man, wait. Now,
so,
I'm going to tell you this. This is in my brain already. I've been having this vision. Johnny, I lay there and I have these shamrocks in my brain at night. I've been having this vision. I got a vision of Notre Dame putting out like multiple of these backs that are like I want Price out there and I want Love out there and I want confusion. I want those guys involved in the short passing game. I want Holden Says up the seam. I want them worrying about multiple of these backs. Who's going to catch the ball and run? Who's in this and that? I want all of that confusion that Notre Dame normally can't present because we never have an offense with enough guys to be able to present that issue. Notre Dame, it's not an elite skilled offense, but they have way more guys that can test the defense and burn you than we've ever had entering these games before. And I need Notre Dame to try and utilize that. Make Ohio State have to worry about all those different weapons. It's not elite, but it's way more than we've been entering any of these big games recently. Way more.
Yeah, I agree. And we're supposed to be elite up front. So I think it starts there. So, yep.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Now, I know the way you are, and you're going to have more thoughts as the week goes on. It's going to morph. You're going to adapt. Stay in touch. You know how we're going to do this Wednesday, and then we're going to go live Friday morning. We're going to go live Friday night, and then we're going to go live Saturday night. And hopefully John's not miserable. Hopefully John's not miserable, but we'll see. So far, so good on the post-game shows. Everybody's drinking their beer, calling John, oh, we won by a lot. This is awesome. We'll see how it goes this week.
Exactly. Well, hey, I'll try to call in later on this week, but go Irish.
Go
this
Irish.
Is the game.
Andrew, have a good one.
Who cares
man.
what happened before? Yeah.
Have a good one, man.
Awesome.
This is going to be a long week, buddy. Call me back in a couple days with some different thoughts, okay?
Thanks, man.
Have a good one. Take it easy. I'm sorry. I'm excitable on a Monday. Blue and gold. It's probably Mike, and he says, oh, I love it when John gets mad. Yeah, everybody likes it when John's blood pressure's through the roof, except for John's heart. John might need Dr. John. Oh, man. That was so fun. Man, we had a good time at that tailgate. 707, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey, Johnny. Man, I was up until 2:30 last night, so I just got on.
Oh, man. Well, hey, Party Central, man. I'm not here to judge you. I like it. Do what you got to do. Hey, I want to know, what's your reaction to this Central Michigan game leading into this week? Are you just going, whatever, we won, it's over. I'm focusing all on Ohio State. I'm not going to let that sit in my mind. Or are there things you saw in that game that are going to bug you all this week and worry you leading into Ohio State? Explain to me where your mind frame's at.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get to see the game because I'm not paying Peacock a penny.
Yeah.
So I have to wait until this afternoon. It's going to be on television on the local channel. Comcast, I guess, is your local subscriber. So I'll get to see them this afternoon. But I did listen to what you downloaded of your thoughts after the game, so I'll be looking to see what you saw. You weren't overly impressed, so
No,
that's a little discerning.
It is, and it isn't. It is very awkward to me. I feel like it is me complaining, but under the umbrella of knowing I'm complaining about a game Notre Dame won 41-17. And so, like, there are levels to this. I feel like I had complaints about things, but under the knowledge that we won 41-17. So it's almost a compliment to them that I'm complaining because I'm winning and we still won by a lot. But I also didn't see a lot of the stuff I wanted to see, damn it. So it's got me all sideways here.
Yeah, I meant disconcerting.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway, while you were there enjoying your estimate hot dogs at your tailgate,
yeah, we had a lot of them too, man. I think we had 200 hot dogs, 50 brats, and 50 pounds of wings. Literally, we did 150 hot dogs, 50 brats, and a guy brought 50 pounds of wings to put out. We had a good, man, it was good eating and good drinking in that lot.
Well, while you were doing that, I was laughing watching Drew Pine play and Phil Jerkovic play and Tyler Buckner play. And it is so funny.
Yeah, man.
It is funny because
it's only funny because it's
now.
not my problem, right? It's all fun and games now because it's not our problem. Yeah.
I know. And it's just, you just saw the same tendencies,
The Alabama stuff. I can't handle it. All the podcasts, there's like 50 Notre Dame YouTube or Alabama YouTube shows because of what Alabama football is. And they're all going, how is this Buckner guy skipping balls into the ground? He can't even throw. And I'm just thinking, buddy, get used to it, man. They were like, I don't understand. It's like a 5-yard out.
Doing the same thing.
It's a 5-yard out, and he's skipping it. And they're like, how could this be? And I'm sitting there with my popcorn smiling like, dude, you have no idea what you're about to find out. Actually, they're not going to find out anymore because I don't think he's going to play again the rest of the year now, maybe. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think he's going to play.
Probably not, but Pine did the same thing. He was throwing it at guys' feet, and he also threw 2 picks in
Look
about
Look at this screen. Bama Charlie writes in, John was speaking the truth. We're ready to run Reese and Buckner back out of town. They're yours now, man. You wanted them, you got them. They're yours now. You can keep them.
Henry's, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's just so fun. It's so fun having a quarterback. It just shows you how different it can be.
Everything's different. It changes the whole, the vibe of having competent quarterback play is it like calms the seas. It calms the seas. The whole team looks more like under control and there's just no panic. And like, it's a new feeling for us. And I want to see Notre Dame in a big time premier game under those circumstances because we haven't in a very, very, very long time. This is going to look different.
I'll tell you, if we do, I did see a highlight with Tobias. So if we do a thing like that on the first play of the game, just send them deep, open up their defense a little bit instead of stacking the box, thinking Estime's got to be stopped. I think we'll have a lot more success throughout the game if they expect that we can connect on a deep ball. So even if it doesn't connect, I mean, I want to see us open them up a little bit, give us some space to play in,
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I am thrilled because I feel like Notre Dame's entering this game with a lot more going for them than is usual that we could say entering these games. And at the same time, a part of me saying, until you beat one of these teams on that stage, you didn't beat one of these teams on that stage. And I need Notre Dame to show up in those green jerseys, fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit different this year. I mean, I even think Ohio State's not talking their usual as much.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Does Kent show up today?
Oh, yeah. Kent's been here today. Yeah, he's here. Oh, he's here. Yeah.
Yeah, is he talking shit?
A little bit, yeah, but that's about what I'd expect. But we're in the middle of the range. On the needle, we're in the middle range. We're safe now. You know, we're not going too far. It's only Monday. We got to build up. So I don't know, man. Hey, some of those Ohio State people are talking a lot, and others are going, I'm not totally sold on the quarterback yet, and the O-line yet, and the defensive line's pressure yet. So I don't know what the reality is there, and we're going to get those answers soon enough in a few days.
Well, they wound up getting just what they wanted this last week. I mean, they saw that Ty Simpson, McCord, is it?
Yeah.
Can put up. I like Ty Simpson, by the way, with Alabama. I think he's going to be good when he gets more experience. But, this guy McCord got 63 points. So they're feeling a lot more relief than they were going into that game Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, because they proved they can put points on the board. So with a kid like, in his fourth game or third game, so, but, just was your previous caller, I think, because I recognized his voice when he debated Patrick. But, he keeps saying, I've heard him and I've seen him print it, that it's Marcus's defense. I don't think that's true. I've heard Marcus say that this is Golden's defense. And not only that, but it's when you look at the blitzes, this is a very different defense that they're playing that they did last year. So I think this is definitely more of a Golden defense and calling the plays on defense, because he likes to rush the passer. And that's what I'm looking forward to against the young kid.
Yeah.
But they have to get there. If they're going to blitz this time, last week when they held their lanes, it was very smart against that other quarterback. What's his name? Armstrong. But if they wind up doing the blitzing and pressuring, which is what they should do to a young kid, and make him prove he can beat it, it's going to be tough for him, and it's going to be away, and it's going to be loud. Like you said, I don't think it's going to, because you were at that 95 game with USC, so was I, and it was loud.
Yeah.
It was very loud. So it was a great game.
You mean 05, not 95, but 05, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
that was the loudest. I mean, you got to understand, I'm 38. So for me, that was the loudest I've personally heard it. 2012 Stanford got loud too in that overtime goal line stand. That got loud. But the Bush thing was a different level. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I have been chasing that Notre Dame Stadium vibe ever since that day in 2005. Not how it ended, but I mean the vibe that weekend and that energy. I've been chasing that eye for a long, long time.
Yeah. How are we on penalties in this last game? Do we get a lot again?
You know what? Good question. I haven't been 7 or 8, less than the 10 the week before, 6, 7, 8, 7, somewhere in there, a little better there. So
that's still too many though.
Yeah, tighten it up a little bit. And I'm interested to see how the narrative shift throughout the week here. This is going to be very interesting and as we build up, but this is a good Monday morning just to kind of test people to see where we're starting from. Anything else on your mind, my friend? You were there in spirit at the tailgate. All of your favorite characters were there, and we drank a couple for you. Okay, man?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but
when you go on Mark,
when
you go on Mark Rogers later, tell him Joe Long said hi, because
give him the business.
Yeah,
give him the business. Yeah, he doesn't like it. He told me, he messaged me and he goes, John, a lot of your people are giving me a hard time. I said, hey man, I don't assume responsibility for them. I don't know what they're saying.
Well, that Dallas guy goes in there and goes off all the time.
I knew he would. Yeah, Mike Campbell, the Dallas guy, I knew he would. Yeah, he's always all over everybody. So this is going to be interesting, my friend. I really appreciate you giving me a call to start off the week, and let's ride this wave together, whatever's going to happen the rest of the week. Hey, wait, whoa, wait a second. Somebody's putting in the chat, Deuce Knight just committed to Notre Dame. And Andrew Gilmore is putting that in the chat right now. So that might be some breaking news that Deuce Knight is committed to Notre Dame. I don't think Andrew Gilmore would troll me in that way to be faking it.
No, he's not a troller.
Yeah, somebody better verify that. But that would be big news as far as the quarterback here. So that's big news.
I'd like to know what's his statistics physical.
I don't
stature.
don't have that off the top of my head. All I know is people seem to think this guy has the bigger upside and the other guy had like a higher floor, but Deuce Knight has a bigger upside. That's the way I understand it. But hey, man, I really appreciate the call on a Monday. Stay in touch the rest of this week. It's going to be a wild ride.
Great. Will do. Thank you
Have a
for
good
taking
one.
the call.
Oh, no problem. Take care. All right, confirmed. Okay, so yeah, Kent, who's that 2-star? Kent, you would do that, buddy. You would do that. Somebody's saying it just happened. Okay, got it. All right. So it's out. That news is out and about. So that's beautiful. All right, I got a bunch more callers, but I'm going to have to cut the show because I got to go on another show at 11. But there's another full bank of callers. So it got busier later in the day with people loading up, and then I got behind and I didn't catch up, and that's my fault. We're going to have opportunities, though. We are going to do Wednesday again. We're going to do Friday morning again. We're going to go Friday night again. Like, everybody will get their opportunities. It's just a busy week and a busy morning for me. Japer 12, $5 holler. You think the refs will be neutral in this game? No, they're bad at their jobs. Christopher Morgan, James, thank you, James. It was great meeting James. Mello, everybody who donated. Christopher again. I met Paul Conley again with the $5 hollers. Oh, man. Phil and his lovely, Phil's lovely wife brings that handle of every event we have. Phil's little petite, cute little wife walks up and she just hands me the fireball and it goes right there. She looks so innocent, and unassuming. She's always firing up the crowd with that fireball. Tom with the holler, Mike, V1 rotate, and of course the resident always Irish lawyer, Eric. Oh, that is beautiful. So that's going to be it, you guys. I'm really sorry if I didn't get to your calls, man. We got to get... There's just no easy way to do it on a week like this where you have that many people coming and going. So I'm going to get prepared to go do hit the rounds here, do some other shows. And then Phil, thank you. She loves your family, John. I appreciate that, man. We're growing. One big happy family. Big news. If you got Deuce Knight to commit and all that, man, there is a lot going on this week in Notre Dame land. So I'm going to hit the circuit, join these other shows. I'll let you guys know where I'm at so you can watch all these other shows with me on them. Everybody have a good one. This is going to be a very, very fun week. Have a good one, folks.